Okay, imagine this. You're just, going about your day, maybe heading into a big meeting or navigating a really busy street, maybe even just trying to relax at home. And then, bam, suddenly out of nowhere, this wave just hits you. Your heart starts pounding like crazy, your thoughts are racing, palms get sweaty, and you get this really unsettling feeling of being disconnected, like you're watching everything happen from, I don't know, outside yourself.
Yeah.
The world feels kind of blurry, overwhelming, like you're caught in this whirlwind.
That feeling, yeah. Being swept away, losing your footing when anxiety or some really intense emotion takes over. It's incredibly disorienting. And, well, frankly, it's pretty scary. Your mind gets stuck in this loop, right? Your body's reacting super intensely, and it feels almost impossible to just, stop the ride and get off.
Exactly. And in those moments, those really turbulent times when the internal storm is just raging, you desperately need something solid, something to hold on to. An anchor, yeah. Something that can reliably pull you back, ground you in the here and now. And that's precisely what we're diving into today. We've taken your stack of sources you sent over articles, research notes, therapeutic guides, all sorts of things, covering everything from simple sensory tricks to much deeper, more complex skills, all designed to provide you with that anchor.
Right. And our mission for this deep dive really is to thoroughly unpack these sources on grounding techniques.
Yeah.
We want to understand not just what they are, but really dig into why they work.
Yeah, the mechanism.
Exactly. When they're most useful, and explore a really wide range of specific methods, spanning physical stuff, mental focus, even those deeper acceptance skills, things that can help us find that calm anchor precisely when anxiety threatens to overwhelm us. It's about bringing yourself back home, really, to the present moment.
Okay, so let's start right at the beginning then. What exactly are these grounding techniques? The sources seem pretty clear on the basic definition.
Yeah, they are. Essentially, they're tools, strategies designed specifically to reconnect you with your immediate surroundings, your environment right now.
Okay.
That's right. At their absolute core, their fundamental function is to divert your focus, to pull it away from those really distressing internal experiences.
Like the racing thoughts or intense feelings.
Exactly. Whether it's overwhelming emotions, intrusive memories, or those relentless spiraling thoughts that can just escalate anxiety so quickly, they act as a deliberate interruption to that whole internal cascade.
So it's like hitting a circuit breaker on the internal chaos, redirecting the flow.
Precisely. That's a great analogy. When your mind feels like it's spiraling out of control, caught in that loop of worry or fear or rumination, grounding acts as that essential anchor during the emotional storm.
Right.
It consciously, actively shifts your attention. So instead of being consumed by what's happening inside, the intense physical sensations, the scary stories your mind is telling you, you are intentionally encouraged to notice and engage with what's happening outside of you, in the concrete external world, in the here and now.
So it's fundamentally a mental pivot then, a redirection of focus from that internal alarm system to just external reality. And the sources emphasize this isn't just like a distraction tactic, right? It actually sends a signal to your brain.
Yes, exactly. And this is where it gets really interesting, I think, from both a physiological and psychological standpoint. By engaging your senses with the present moment, by actively noticing, say, the chair you're sitting on or the sound of a clock ticking, you are implicitly signaling to your brain, it's okay.
Right.
I am here in this specific place right now, and in this particular moment, I am safe. And that simple act offers a really crucial mental and emotional respite. It allows your whole system a chance to regulate, to reset from that alarm state.
Wow.
The sources specifically mentioned their potential power in helping with anxiety related to PTSD too, highlighting how they can help the brain and body differentiate between a traumatic past event and the actual safety of the present moment.
That ability to distinguish between then and now, that feels incredibly powerful, especially when the past feels so immediate, so vivid.
It really is.
It's about reminding your system that the perceived danger might be just a memory or a thought, not something happening right now. And this directly connects to the physiological link the sources describe, right? Because anxiety isn't just a feeling in your head. It has real physical roots and expressions.
Absolutely. And anxiety triggers the body's, innate stress response, the classic fight, flight, or freeze system.
Right.
Even if there's no actual lion in the room, if your mind perceives a threat, maybe it's a deadline, a difficult conversation, whatever, it signals the release of stress hormones, things like adrenaline and cortisol.
Okay.
And this whole cascade leads to those familiar physical symptoms. Increased heart rate, that rapid or shallow chest breathing, muscle tension, sweating, sometimes digestive issues, aches, pains, difficulty concentrating, irritability, feeling restless or trouble sleeping. The whole system basically goes on high alert.
The body gears up for action, even if there's nowhere to run or nothing to fight.
Exactly. And this is where grounding techniques, particularly those that deliberately involve the body and the breath, become so impactful.
Right.
By intentionally slowing your breath, for instance, you can actually send a countersignal back to your nervous system. Deep, slow breathing activates the parasympathetic nervous system. That's the rest and digest system.
Okay, the calming one.
Yeah, the calming one. It helps to, calm things down. This can directly help slow your heart rate, lower your blood pressure, increase oxygen flow to your brain and body, and generally counter those intense stress responses.
So deep breathing isn't just some nice, soothing idea. It's sending a literal physiological message to your body. Stand down. It's okay.
It really is. And the sources, they really highlight the long-term benefits too.
Yeah.
They suggest that practicing deep breathing and other grounding techniques regulate, not just when you're in a crisis, can actually help train your body, train it to adopt a new pattern of relaxation and regulation. Over time, this consistent practice builds resilience. It makes it easier for your system to return to a state of calm, which means that when moments of anxiety do pop up in the future, your body is just better equipped to handle them because it's more accustomed to that regulated state.
So you're building a more robust nervous system through practice.
That's a great way to put it, yeah. Building a more robust nervous system through repeated practice.
Okay, so we get what grounding is, how it acts as an anchor, how it works on both our brain and body, even building long-term resilience. But when should we actually turn to these techniques? The sources give us some pretty specific pointers.
Yeah, they do. Grounding offers a really solid foundation, an essential tool, basically whenever anxiety or intense emotion unsettles you.
Right.
It's definitely crucial during the peak moments, but like we touched on, its usefulness extends beyond just crisis. The sources point to those classic moments of heightened acute anxiety, like the feeling right before a big presentation, or maybe navigating through really turbulent flight, or feeling overwhelmed by all the sensory input in a crowded shopping mall, or a busy public space where your surroundings suddenly feel chaotic, maybe even threatening. Grounding helps you recenter yourself amidst that whirlwind, whether it's internal or external.
That makes complete sense. When the world feels chaotic, grounding brings you back to your own steady presence within it. What about that really unsettling feeling of being disconnected from yourself or your surroundings?
Yes, that's another critical time. If you experience moments of feeling disoriented, detached, or unreal, sometimes people describe it as watching yourself from afar, feeling foggy, or like the world around you isn't quite real.
Depersonalization or derealization.
Right, exactly. What the sources might refer to as depersonalization or derealization grounding techniques are specifically designed to bring you back into concrete, sensory reality, back into your physical body and your immediate environment.
That sounds incredibly helpful for people who experience that. It can be really frightening. What about when past difficult experiences or traumas resurface really intensely?
This is an area where grounding can be exceptionally powerful, particularly, as we noted, with anxiety connected to trauma or PTSD.
Right.
Sometimes intrusive memories or flashbacks or these intense emotional responses tied to past events can feel incredibly vivid.
Yeah.
Like they are happening right now.
Yeah.
And this can blur the lines between then and now in a terrifying way.
Yeah.
Grounding helps you firmly anchor yourself in the present moment, reminding your system, both mentally and physically, that the intense feeling or memory belongs to the past and that you are safe in this moment, right here, right now.
That distinction, past event, present safety, that's such a fundamental and critical thing to be able to access. And of course, during a panic attack itself.
Absolutely. Panic attacks are incredibly intense experiences, heart pounding, often dizzying, overwhelming, sometimes feeling like you're having a heart attack or like you're completely losing control.
Yeah, terrifying.
Terrifying is the word.
Yeah.
Grounding techniques can be invaluable here. Now, they aren't always like a magic stop button for a panic attack, let's be clear, but they can significantly soften those moments, making them less terrifying and more manageable. They give you something active to do during the panic, helping you kind of ride the wave of intense sensation rather than feeling completely capsized by it.
So the goal isn't necessarily complete eradication of the panic, but making it survivable, less overwhelming, giving you a sense of agency during it.
Exactly. Making it through a panic attack feeling like you had some tools, some way to navigate it, that's a huge step. But, and this is important, as the sources strongly emphasize, You absolutely do not need to wait for a full-blown crisis or panic attack to use these techniques.
Ah, okay.
Incorporating grounding into your daily routine, even when you're feeling calm, can significantly enhance your overall mental well-being and build that vital resilience we talked about.
So it's like exercising a muscle when you're feeling strong so that it's ready and able to perform when you really need it most.
Precisely. Think about it. The sources suggest using techniques in everyday moments. Feeling a bit restless or maybe bored during a long online meeting?
Happens all the time.
Right. Discreetly try the 5-4-3-2-1 method, or just a quick sensory scan. Feeling overwhelmed by a long list of daily chores? Pause for a moment. Do a simple breathing exercise.
Okay.
By integrating these techniques into ordinary low-stakes moments while you're waiting in line, during your morning coffee, maybe commuting, winding down in the evening, you make them more automatic, more natural responses. This builds a deep familiarity, making them readily accessible and effective when bigger stressors or anxieties inevitably arise. It truly helps you handle future moments of distress with greater ease because you've already practiced the skill. You've built that pathway.
It's about proactive mental fitness then, creating habits of presence and regulation, not just reactive damage control when things get bad.
Exactly. Proactive mental fitness. I like that.
And the sources provide an important caveat here too, right? While these tools are incredibly valuable, they are, well, part of a larger picture.
That's a crucial point, yes. The sources remind us that while these are powerful self-help tools for managing moments of distress, if anxiety is consistently impacting your daily life, maybe making it hard to function, or if you find that these techniques just aren't sufficient to manage the intensity or frequency of your anxiety, well, seeking advice and support from a therapist or counselor is highly recommended.
Right.
They can offer personalized strategies, help address any underlying causes, and provide additional levels of support that individual techniques might not cover on their own.
So these are fantastic tools for navigation, but not necessarily the entire map if you're feeling truly lost or stuck.
A very good way to put it. These give you navigational aids in the storm, but sometimes you need a guide to help you understand the whole ocean.
Okay, now for the really practical part, the toolkit itself. The sources lay out a fantastic array of specific techniques you can try. Let's start with what feels like the most immediate category: sensory awareness. This is about using your 5 senses to connect directly with the present moment, right?
It is. Your senses are your direct line to the external world right now. Engaging them pulls your attention out of those swirling thoughts and into what you can actually see, hear, touch, smell, and taste in your immediate environment. And the cornerstone technique here, the one that's widely recommended across the sources, is the 5-4-3-2-1 method.
Ah, the absolute classic grounding technique, yes.
Right.
Let's walk through it step by step exactly as the sources describe it.
Okay, so you begin by looking around and consciously identifying 5 things you can see. And the key here is to go beyond just a quick glance. Actively notice details you might usually overlook.
Okay.
Like the specific shade of color in the wall paint, or the texture of the fabric on a chair, the way the light creates shadows, maybe a small crack in the ceiling, the pattern on your mug. 5 distinct visual observations.
Okay, let me try it right now. I see the dust motes dancing in the light coming through the window, the slightly frayed edge of the paper on my desk, the specific blue color of that pen cap, the way the cables are sort of neatly bundled behind the computer, and the reflection of the screen in my glasses. 5 things.
Excellent. Really engaging that visual sense with specificity. Perfect. Next, you move to 4 things you can feel or touch. So bring your awareness to physical sensations.
Okay.
The feeling of the fabric of your clothes against your skin, maybe the solid ground beneath your feet, noticing the pressure or the texture through your shoes or socks. The surface of the desk or chair you're touching, the weight of a piece of jewelry or a watch, the temperature of the air on your skin. 4 distinct tactile sensations.
Right. Okay. I feel the smooth, cool surface of my microphone, the softness of my sweater against my arms, the pressure of my feet flat on the floor, and the subtle warmth of the air in the room. 4.
Perfect. Now, 3 things you can hear. Shift your focus purely to sounds around you. This often requires listening carefully, tuning into background noise you might normally tune out.
Right, like the fridge humming.
Exactly. Distant traffic or sirens, the hum of the air conditioning or refrigerator, the ticking of a clock, maybe sounds of construction outside, or even the quiet sound of your own breathing or heartbeat if you listen very intently. 3 distinct auditory inputs.
Okay. I can hear the low hum of my computer, the faint sound of birds chirping outside, and the sound of my own breath. 3.
Good. 2 more senses to go. Next, 2 things you can smell. This might involve taking a conscious sniff or maybe just noticing ambient scents that are already there.
Okay.
The lingering smell of your morning coffee, perhaps. The scent of a candle or a diffuser if you use one. Your own perfume or soap. The smell of paper or books, maybe a faint cleaning product scent, or just fresh air coming through a window. 2 distinct smells.
Right. I smell the faint, sweet scent from a lotion I used earlier, and the subtle, kind of earthy smell of the air after the rain we had.
Nice. And finally, one thing you can taste. Focus on a taste sensation currently in your mouth. This could be the lingering taste from your last drink or meal, the taste of water you just sipped, or simply the general taste in your mouth right now. One distinct taste.
Okay, the fresh, neutral taste of the water I just drank. 1.
Perfect. So by systematically moving through your senses like that, you've actively and deliberately pulled your attention away from that internal rumination or intense feeling, and you've anchored it firmly in the concrete, immediate physical world around you. It's a really powerful interruption and a pathway back to the present.
It really does demand your full attention to go through that list slowly and deliberately. It feels hard to simultaneously catalog 5 things you see and also be completely lost in a spiral of worry at the same time.
Exactly. It redirects the processing power of your brain, basically. And the sources expand on this sensory theme, too. They draw from therapeutic frameworks like dialectical behavior therapy or DBT, specifically in what they call the self-soothe skills. And these encourage you to deepen your engagement with each individual sense as a way to find comfort and presence beyond just counting.
Okay, let's explore those individual senses in more depth then, beyond just the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 count. What do they suggest?
Okay, so for vision, the sources suggest actively keeping your eyes open during distress and really looking around, noticing details in your environment like we just did. But beyond just observing, you can intentionally seek out something calming or beautiful to look at.
Like focusing on something pleasant.
Yeah, focusing on nature outside a window, looking at a favorite piece of art you have, noticing architectural details if you're out and about, or even just the intricate pattern on a leaf.
So it's not just random looking, but a focused, intentional gaze. Got it.
Yes. Then for hearing, you can use sound to soothe or energize. Listen to music that you find calming or uplifting. Maybe having a specific playlist ready for moments of distress is a good idea.
Yeah, practical.
Listen to nature sounds like waves crashing, birds singing, the gentle sound of rain, or wind rustling leaves. If you're in a city, even tuning into the rhythm of city sounds, like traffic, can be grounding for some people. The sources also suggest simple actions like singing or humming to yourself.
A curated soundscape for calm. That's a practical tip. What about smell?
For smell, intentional use of comforting or pleasant scents can be very grounding because, well, smell is so strongly linked to memory and emotion, right?
Totally.
So use your favorite perfume or cologne, smell soap or lotion you like, light a scented candle, or use an essential oil diffuser. Other suggestions include the smell of coffee or tea brewing, lemon oil, cinnamon, or natural scents like baking bread, roses, or that smell of a forest after rain.
Nice.
Having a small vial of essential oil or maybe a little sachet of dried herbs like lavender that you can carry with you is a really portable strategy too.
Portable anchors are key, definitely.
Right.
Taste.
For taste, the sources encourage mindful tasting of enjoyable foods or drinks. This could be something specifically chosen for its strong, attention-grabbing sensation, like a piece of sour candy or maybe a square of intense dark chocolate.
Oh, yeah, that would grab your attention.
Definitely. Or it could be something comforting, like herbal tea, a cool ice cube melting in your mouth, a favorite meal, dessert, or even just a refreshing drink like orange juice. The focus is on savoring it, noticing the taste, the temperature, the texture with full attention. Mindfully eating even just one bite of something can really bring you into the present.
Mindful eating as a distress tolerance skill, another way to engage fully with the physical world right here, right now.
Exactly. And finally, for touch, there's a whole wide array of options focused on physical sensation. Simple actions like feeling your feet firmly on the ground, whether you're barefoot on grass or soil outside, or just feeling the connection to the floor through your shoes inside. Holding comfort objects like a soft blanket, a smooth stone, or a piece of jewelry, and focusing on its texture and temperature. Using ice is specifically mentioned, holding an ice cube in your hand or letting it melt in your mouth, and focusing intently on that intense changing physical sensation.
Ice seems like a popular one.
It really grabs your attention, yeah. Taking a hot or cold shower or bath can also be grounding, offering intense physical sensation. But the sources do caution that very intense physical sensations, like a freezing cold shower, might actually be too overwhelming during an acute panic attack. They suggest it might be better used once the peak is kind of passed.
Good point about timing and intensity. That makes sense. What are some other touch techniques?
Let's see. Petting an animal, receiving or giving yourself a massage, soaking your feet, applying lotion, and focusing on the sensation of it on your skin, feeling different fabrics like a soft sweater or smooth sheets. Driving with the windows down and feeling the air rush over you, running your hand along textured surfaces like smooth wood or rough bark, hugging someone you trust, if that's available and feels right, wrapping yourself tightly in a blanket, or placing a cool cloth on your face or neck.
Wow.
The goal with all of these is to deliberately notice and focus on the soothing or neutral or even just interesting physical sensations to pull your attention back to your body and the present moment.
That's a truly comprehensive list, just focusing on the senses. It really drives home how many simple, immediate ways we can connect with the here and now through our physical experience. It's all right there.
It shows that grounding isn't just one thing. It's a whole category of techniques, using really accessible resources, your own body and your immediate environment.
Right.
And moving beyond relying solely on the five senses, the sources also delve into techniques that directly engage physical movement and influence body chemistry. Sometimes these are grouped under distress tolerance frameworks, like the TIP skills from DBT.
Ah, yes, the TIP skills, TIP.
Exactly. These techniques are about using intense physical action or physiological triggers to rapidly shift your emotional state.
Okay, let's break those down. Let's start with the T temperature, often using cold water, right? Like the ice we mentioned.
Right. This is a powerful technique from DBT aimed at quickly reducing intense emotion by leveraging something called the mammalian dive reflex.
Okay, the dive reflex.
Yeah. The method involves holding your breath and putting your face into a bowl of ice water, or maybe holding a cold pack firmly against your eyes and cheeks for about 30 seconds. This triggers a physiological response that actually slows your heart rate, constricts blood vessels in your extremities, and redirects blood flow towards your core and brain.
Wow, that's specific.
It is. It can effectively calm down an activated nervous system during moments of intense panic or emotional overwhelm. However, the sources do prudently advise consulting a healthcare provider before using this technique if you have any underlying medical conditions, particularly heart issues. Always good to check.
Absolutely. Safety first. But that sounds like a serious physical reset button, a direct biological intervention almost. Okay, and IN in TIP stands for intense exercise.
Exactly. When your body's flooded with the energy of anxiety or other intense emotions like anger or fear, one way to cope is through intense physical activity.
Right.
Engaging in a short burst of vigorous exercise, like running in place really fast, sprinting for a short distance, doing jumping jacks, pushing hard against a wall, or lifting some weights, can help discharge that physical energy that comes with the stress response. It gives your body an outlet for that activated state.
Like literally burning off the nervous energy that's making you feel trapped or jittery.
Precisely. It's a way to kind of complete the physiological stress cycle that got triggered. The first P in TIPEC stands for paced breathing.
Okay, which we've touched on already.
We have, but it's fundamental because of its direct link to the nervous system and its ability to activate that calming parasympathetic response.
Right. Let's maybe reiterate some of those specific breathing exercises from the sources because there were quite a few variations listed, weren't there?
Absolutely. Beyond just the basic deep breathing into the belly, focusing on the rise and fall of your abdomen.
Yeah.
The sources detail techniques like focusing on an extended exhale. This could be inhaling for a count of, say, 4, and consciously exhaling for a count of 6 or even longer. Maybe visualizing the tension leaving your body with that longer exhale. The extended exhale is really a key signal for relaxation.
The exhale is the anchor for calm. Got it.
Then there's box breathing. This is often used by military and first responders. You inhale for a count of 4, hold your breath for 4, exhale for 4, and hold again for 4. Visualizing the 4 sides of a box as you do each step can help with focus.
Adds a mental element.
It does. There's also the 4-7-8 breathing technique. Inhale for 4, hold for 7, and exhale slowly for 8. This one is specifically noted for its effectiveness in promoting relaxation and even helping with sleep.
Those structured counts seem really helpful for distracting a racing mind while also regulating the breath physically.
They really do. Other variations for maybe quicker calming include 3-3-3 breathing. Just inhale 3, hold 3, exhale 3. or 4-2-6 breathing. Inhale 4, hold 2, exhale 6 again. Another technique emphasizing that longer exhale for relaxation.
Right.
Resonant breathing aims for a slower rhythm overall, about 5 breaths per minute, which translates to roughly a 12-second cycle, often like a 5.5-second inhale, 6.5-second exhale.
Okay.
And finally, yogic breathing or alternate nostril breathing is mentioned. This is a specific practice involving closing off one nostril at a time to breathe. It's often used in yoga and meditation practices, and it might require a bit more learning or guidance.
Sure.
The sources also point out, helpfully, that many apps and online resources offer guided breathing exercises or visual aids like breathe bubbles to help you pace yourself, which can be really useful.
Yeah, lots of tech support for that now. That's a whole toolkit just within breathing. Amazing. Okay, and the second P in TIPI is paired muscle relaxation.
Yes. This technique involves consciously tensing a specific muscle group for just a few seconds, and then deliberately releasing the tension completely, often while saying the word relax, silently or softly on the exhale.
Okay.
You can do this systematically, maybe starting with small muscles like your fists or face and moving through your entire body down to your toes. Or you could just focus on areas where you typically hold tension, like your shoulders or jaw.
Right.
The goal is to really notice the contrast between the tension and the relaxation, and to consciously let go of physical tightness, which is often so intertwined with emotional tension.
Like becoming aware of where your body is physically holding the anxiety and then actively, consciously releasing it. Are there other movement techniques mentioned that aren't part of those core tip skills?
Yes. The sources list a few additional ways to use movement for grounding, taking just a short, focused walk, for example. Concentrating solely on the physical sensation of your feet, making contact with the ground, the rhythm of your steps, the feeling of your body moving through space. Simple actions like doing some jumping jacks, jumping up and down in place, jogging gently, or doing some stretches can also help discharge that pent-up physical energy and bring your focus back into your body.
And the butterfly hug is another common self-soothing movement, isn't it? I've heard of that.
It is, yeah. You cross your arms over your chest, placing your hands on opposite collarbones or maybe your upper arms, and then you gently and alternately tap your hands against your body in a rhythmic pattern, kind of like the wings of a butterfly.
Okay.
While doing this, you focus on taking slow, deep breaths. It's a simple, self-administered bilateral stimulation, meaning stimulating both sides of the body, that many people find quite calming and grounding.
Okay, fascinating. So we've explored sensory connection, physical movement, and leveraging body chemistry through things like temperature and breathing. Now let's look at the tools that use our minds, the cognitive and mental focus techniques.
Right. These techniques utilize your internal mental processes, your thoughts, your imagination, your attention to anchor you in the present, or provide a mental shift away from those distressing thoughts. Mindfulness meditation is really a core concept here.
Right, being present.
Exactly. It involves intentionally paying attention to the present moment, your thoughts, feelings, body sensations, your surroundings, but without judgment, just observing. The sources suggest that engaging in guided meditations, perhaps ones specifically designed for anxiety or panic, can be a helpful way to learn and practice this skill.
Training your mind to stay present rather than letting it get constantly pulled into worries about the future or regrets about the past.
Precisely. Another cognitive technique, which is related to the sensory scan we did but emphasizes the mental process more, is describing your surroundings in detail. Mentally, or even verbally if you're alone, describing objects, sounds, and scents around you, like, that's a wooden table, it's brown, it has rings on it from glasses, I hear the refrigerator humming, I smell the faint scent of detergent on my shirt. This forces your focus away from the internal turmoil and towards external observation and description.
It gives your thinking brain a concrete task to perform, doesn't it? Takes up bandwidth.
It does. What about simple mental distractions? Are those helpful?
Naming categories is a really straightforward but surprisingly effective way to distract your brain from those anxious thought loops.
Okay.
Pick a category: types of fruits, state capitals, breeds of dogs, favorite movies, authors you like, types of trees, and mentally list as many as you can think of. This engages your working memory and redirects cognitive resources away from the anxiety narrative. A deliberate mental detour to give your mind a break. Simple, but sounds effective.
Visualizing a safe or calming place is another powerful mental technique. This involves creating a really detailed mental image of a place where you feel completely safe, peaceful, and relaxed. This could be a real place, like maybe a childhood home, or a favorite spot in nature, like a quiet beach or a mountain trail. or it could even be an entirely imaginary place you create. The sources recommend building this vivid mental world when you are calm, noticing the sights, the sounds, the smells, the feelings associated with it, so that it's readily accessible as a mental retreat when tension or anxiety arises. Soothing soundscapes, like recordings of nature sounds, can also be used to enhance this visualization.
It's like creating your own internal refuge you can just step into whenever you need it. That's lovely.
Affirmations are also listed as a cognitive tool, using gentle, positive self-statements as anchors.
Okay.
Simple phrases like, I am safe in this moment, or this feeling will pass, I can handle this, or just, I am okay. The sources suggest practicing these regularly when you are calm, perhaps saying them aloud or silently to yourself, so that your mind is more familiar and receptive to them during moments of tension or distress.
Making those positive or reassuring statements easily accessible in your mental landscape when you need them.
Exactly. Engaging in simple mental games or using numbers can also ground a racing mind. This could be running through times tables if you remember them.
Uh-oh.
Counting backward from 100 by threes, or finding different ways to make a specific number, like all the ways to make 10, 5 plus 5, 12 to 2, 2 by 5, etc.
Okay.
Reciting something you know by heart, like the lyrics to a favorite song, a poem you learned, or a passage from a book, and focusing intently on the words can also be really absorbing and grounding.
Using the logical or linguistic parts of the brain to create a structured mental activity that competes with the anxious thoughts. Makes sense.
Another structured mental technique is visualizing or describing a familiar, simple task step by step. Mentally walk through the process of making your morning coffee, or folding laundry, locking up your house at night, or packing your lunch, focusing on the sequence of actions and the sensory details involved in each step.
Giving your mind a concrete, predictable process to follow instead of just spiraling, I can see how that would work.
And the sources describe some more imaginative cognitive techniques too, like imagining physically leaving the painful feelings behind.
How does that work?
Well, you could visualize collecting your anxious feelings, maybe balling them up and putting them into a box that you close, or imagine yourself walking or biking or swimming away from the distressing emotions.
Okay.
Another powerful analogy they mention is imagining your thoughts as, say, a song on the radio or a TV show you dislike. You have the power to change the channel or lower the volume. The thoughts might still be there in the background, but you don't have to give them your full attention or treat them as absolute truth.
That's a creative way to create some psychological distance from overwhelming thoughts and feelings. I like that.
Building on the cognitive aspect, the DBT sources delve specifically into something called mindfulness of current thoughts. Now, this skill isn't really about getting rid of thoughts, but about changing your relationship with them.
Ah, okay. How so?
It involves observing your thoughts as they arise, without judgment and without trying to suppress them, viewing them more impersonally, like waves in the ocean that just come and go.
Right.
This practice encourages willingness, a readiness to experience whatever arises without fighting it, and cultivating a curious mind, asking questions like, where did that thought come from? And simply noticing that thoughts appear and they disappear. They aren't permanent fixtures.
So instead of getting tangled up in the thought, you're stepping back and observing it as a thought, an event in the mind.
Exactly. And the sources reinforce a crucial concept here. You are not your thoughts. Just because you have a thought, especially a negative or catastrophic one, doesn't mean it's true. It doesn't mean you have to believe it, and you certainly don't have to act on it.
That's key.
Recognizing catastrophic or highly emotional thoughts, as coming from what DBT calls emotion mind, is part of this awareness. The sources provide specific micro-techniques for practicing this observation, like labeling thoughts. The thought I can't do this just arose in my mind. Stepping back, using analogies like viewing your thoughts from the top of a mountain, or simply scanning your body sensations versus your thoughts, noticing they're different things.
That reframing is incredibly powerful. The thought is just an event happening in your mind, not necessarily a reflection of objective reality or who you are.
And the sources offer some really creative, almost playful techniques for letting go or changing your relationship with thoughts too.
Like what?
This includes things like repeating a distressing thought out loud, either very fast or very slowly, which can often make it lose its emotional punch and just sound kind of absurd.
Yeah, I can see that.
Saying the thought in different voices, like a cartoon character or a celebrity, or treating the thought as a line from a comedy dialogue can also create distance. Singing the thought can have a similar effect.
Singing your anxious thoughts.
Why not? You can also imagine your mind as different scenes where thoughts just pass through, like a conveyor belt, a river, a railroad track, leaves floating down a creek, the vast sky with thoughts as clouds or birds flying through, or even just a simple white room with doors where thoughts enter and exit.
Visualization helps create distance.
Relaxing your face and body while intentionally accepting thoughts as just brain sensations is another practice. And a very insightful technique mentioned is imagining what actions you would take if you stopped believing a particular negative thought as a fact, or practicing cultivating loving thoughts towards yourself or others, even amidst the difficult thoughts.
Those are wonderfully imaginative and practical ways to shift your perspective and gain some agency over how you react to your own thoughts. It gives you a sense of playful control rather than feeling like a victim to them.
Absolutely. They allow you to change your relationship with your internal experience. And this brings us nicely to some of the deeper DBT distress tolerance skills, the ones focusing on accepting reality and cultivating willingness. Now, the sources frame these not as skills for solving everyday problems necessarily, but specifically for navigating crisis situations. Those moments of intense emotion or strong urges that, if you acted on them, might make things significantly worse in the long run.
Right, high-stakes moments.
Exactly. The core goals here are to survive these crises without making them worse, to learn to accept reality as it is, which is often the source of the pain in the first place, and ultimately to become freer from the tyranny of those intense urges and overwhelming emotions.
So these are for those really tough moments when typical grounding might not be enough to prevent, say, unhelpful or destructive actions.
Precisely. When the emotional intensity or the urge to do something destructive is very, very high. One technique mentioned is using pros and cons.
Okay.
This is used when you're faced with the choice between two actions, especially between acting on a strong, potentially destructive crisis urge, like, say, self-harm, substance use, lashing out, versus resisting that urge and coping with the distress skillfully. You make a list of the pros and cons of each action, acting on the urge and resisting the urge, thinking about both the short-term and the long-term consequences for both. The sources strongly recommend writing this list out before you are in a crisis, and then reviewing it when an intense urge hits.
Prepare ahead.
Exactly. And they pose a powerful question to consider when you're making that list. Would you rather have a good day by maybe giving into the urge for temporary relief, or a good life by skillfully navigating the distress, even though it's hard right now?
Wow. That framing good day versus good life really emphasizes the long-term perspective that intense emotion can just make us lose sight of completely.
It really brings clarity to that choice point. Then there's radical acceptance.
Okay, this sounds big.
It is. And the sources are very clear. This is not about approving of something bad or pretending something awful is okay. It's not about liking it. It's about a complete total acceptance in your mind, your heart, and your body of reality exactly as it is in this moment. It means stopping the fight against reality, letting go of bitterness, accepting the facts of the past and present, acknowledging realistic limitations for the future, recognizing that everything that happens has causes, even if we don't like them or understand them, and accepting that it's possible to have a life worth living, even when it includes significant pain.
Stopping the fight with reality, that sounds incredibly difficult, especially when reality is painful or unfair. Why is this acceptance so important, according to the sources?
Because, as the sources bluntly state, rejecting reality doesn't change it. It simply prolongs our suffering. Change, paradoxically, often requires accepting the current reality first. Pain is a natural signal. It's a part of life. But rejecting or fighting against that pain is what creates suffering, that extra layer of distress. Refusal to accept keeps you stuck in that cycle of struggling against what is. While acceptance might initially bring sadness or grief or anger about the reality, the sources suggest that these feelings, when allowed, are often followed by a deeper sense of calm and freedom that comes from finally letting go of that futile fight.
So acceptance isn't passive resignation.
No, not at all. It's an active stance. Factors that often interfere with radical acceptance include maybe a lack of the necessary skills to cope with the pain that acceptance brings up, or sometimes the mistaken belief that acceptance means approval, or that nothing will ever change if you accept it.
It's a really profound shift in mindset. How do you actually practice something as monumental as radical acceptance? It sounds huge.
It is huge, but the sources provide a detailed step-by-step guide, which makes it feel more like a learnable skill.
Okay, good.
First, observe yourself fighting reality. Notice the thoughts. Shouldn't be this way. The feelings, anger, bitterness, the physical sensations of resistance, tension, clenching. Second, remind yourself, gently but firmly, that reality is simply as it is, regardless of whether you like it. Third, consider the non-judgmental causes that led to this reality. Fourth, practice acceptance with your whole self. Use self-talk. This is how it is right now. Relaxation techniques, mindfulness, maybe prayer if that's meaningful to you, or imagery. The sources also suggest practicing half-smiling and willing hands, which are ways to use your body to signal acceptance. We'll get to those in a sec. Fifth, practice opposite action act, as if you have accepted, even if you don't fully feel it yet. Sixth, cope ahead by imagining accepting future difficult events. Seventh, attend to the body's sensations associated with the painful reality you need to accept, just noticing them without fighting. Eighth, allow yourself to feel the grief, sadness, or anger that comes with accepting a painful reality. Don't suppress it. Ninth, acknowledge that life, even with its pain, can still be worth living. And 10th, use that pros and cons technique to remind yourself why accepting reality is more beneficial in the long term than rejecting it.
That step-by-step approach makes it sound less abstract and more like a skill you can actually work on, connected to the other techniques we've discussed.
It's a skill that requires practice, lots of practice, like any other. And turning the mind is described as the specific choice to move towards acceptance. It's framed like standing at a fork in the road. One path is rejection and suffering, the other is acceptance and potentially freedom. Turning the mind is the conscious decision, made over and over again, to turn towards acceptance.
Making the choice.
Yeah. The steps are: first, observe that you are not accepting. Second, make an inner commitment, a deliberate decision to accept. Third, repeat this decision to turn the mind towards acceptance over and over because it will wander. And fourth, develop a plan to catch yourself whenever you notice your mind drifting back into non-acceptance and gently guide it back.
It's the active, repetitive act of choosing acceptance again and again.
Yeah, exactly. And closely related is the distinction the sources make between willingness and willfulness.
Okay.
Willingness, according to the sources, is a readiness to participate fully in life as it is. It's doing just what is needed in any given moment, doing it wholeheartedly, acting from a place of wise mind, which DBT describes as the integration of rational and emotional mind, and acting with an awareness of your connection to the wider universe, perhaps.
Okay, that sounds open.
It is. Willfulness, on the other hand, is characterized by refusing to tolerate the moment, refusing to make needed changes, maybe giving up, doing the opposite of what would actually work, insisting on having things exactly your way, trying to fix everything all at once, and being attached to a narrow focus on me, and what I want right now.
So willingness is kind of flowing with reality, doing what works, while willfulness is rigidly resisting it, demanding it be different.
Exactly. Willfulness keeps you stuck in the struggle. Steps for cultivating willingness include observing when you are being willful, radically accepting that you feel willful in that moment without judging yourself for it, making that inner commitment to accept reality and be willing instead, and then describing and actually engaging in willing behavior.
It sounds like a constant process of self-awareness and gently redirecting yourself away from that resistance.
It really is. And finally, within this framework of accepting reality with your body, the sources describe half-smiling and willing hands.
Okay, tell me about those.
Half-smiling involves relaxing your face completely and letting the corners of your lips turn just very slightly upward. Just a serene, almost imperceptible expression, not a big grin.
Subtle.
Very subtle. The sources state that this slight physical posture communicates to your brain and body, signaling acceptance and calm. You can practice this daily in various situations. When you first wake up, during free moments, while listening to music, when you feel irritated, or while lying or sitting down quietly.
Interesting.
A particularly powerful practice mentioned is intentionally half-smiling while contemplating someone you dislike or have difficulty with. Using that posture to help you examine their life, their potential pain, with the hope of cultivating compassion, which really ties acceptance to our interpersonal relationships too.
Wow. Using your physical expression to influence your internal state and even how you relate to others, that's quite deep.
It really shows that mind-body connection in action, doesn't it? And willing hands involves adopting a physical posture that embodies openness and acceptance.
How do you do that?
If you are standing, you can let your arms hang loosely at your sides, hands unclenched, with your palms turned slightly outward and fingers relaxed. If you're sitting, sit upright but relaxed, feet flat on the floor, maybe with that half smile, and rest your hands palms up on your lap or knees. The sources suggest imagining feeling completely relaxed and at ease, like a cat basking peacefully by a warm fire, allowing your body to soften into this posture of acceptance.
That image of the relaxed cat is very evocative and calming. These acceptance skills rooted in DBT add such a significant layer to the toolkit, don't they? Moving beyond just managing a moment to potentially changing your fundamental stance towards difficult reality itself.
They really do. They address that deeper struggle against what is, which is often the source of so much profound suffering.
Okay, wow. We have covered an incredible range of techniques here, from the really simple sensory awareness things and quick physical shifts to cognitive strategies for managing thoughts and these powerful acceptance skills from DBT. And we even touched on things like emotional anchoring from NLP earlier. It's abundantly clear from all the sources that this is definitely not a one-size-fits-all situation.
Absolutely not. The sources consistently emphasize that different techniques will resonate more strongly with different people. And even for the same person, what works in one moment might not be the most effective tool in another. It's truly about building a diverse personal toolkit that you can draw from based on the specific situation and how you're feeling at that time.
So the key is experimentation, really. Trying out a variety of these methods, dipping into the sensory tools, experimenting with different breathing techniques, practicing some cognitive shifts, maybe exploring the acceptance practices gently to discover which ones feel most comfortable, most intuitive, and most effective for you in different contexts.
Exactly. And the importance of practice cannot be overstressed. The sources are very, very clear on this. Ideally, you should practice these techniques when you are calm, when you are not in the midst of intense distress.
Right.
This is how you build the skills, strengthen the neural pathways, and create those positive associations. When you practice regulating your breath or noticing your surroundings when you're already feeling relaxed, you make that pathway back to calm more familiar and much easier to access when you really need it.
Okay.
Then, when anxiety or distress does hit, you have practice skills readily available to deploy, helping you ground yourself until the intense feeling passes.
It's like doing fire drills when there's no fire, right? So you know exactly what to do when the alarm actually goes off.
Exactly. That's a perfect analogy. You build the muscle memory for calm and presence. And it's probably worth repeating the advice from the sources one last time. While these are powerful, practical tools for managing moments of distress and building resilience, if you find that anxiety or other intense emotions are consistently interfering with your daily life, maybe making it hard to function, or if these self-guided techniques just aren't providing sufficient relief, please consider reaching out to a qualified therapist or counselor.
Right.
They can offer tailored guidance, help explore potential root causes, and provide a level of professional support that really complements these individual skills.
So these techniques are about empowering you with immediate actions in difficult moments, but they aren't intended to replace professional help if that's what's truly needed to address underlying issues.
A crucial distinction for comprehensive well-being, absolutely.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, the main takeaway seems to be that grounding techniques are these vital anchors, whether they're sensory, physical, cognitive, or acceptance-based, that can pull us back to the present moment when anxiety or intense emotions threaten to sweep us away. We've explored connecting with our senses, engaging our bodies through movement and breath, using our minds to focus and shift perspective, and even those deeper therapeutic techniques for accepting difficult realities and cultivating a stance of willingness.
And having this diverse toolkit really empowers you with choices. It gives you a sense of agency back in challenging moments and provides tangible pathways back to calm and presence whenever you need them most.
It truly transforms that feeling of being powerless in the face of overwhelm into having concrete, actionable steps you can take right here, right now.
Exactly. And that leaves us with our final provocative thought for you, the listener, to ponder. If the present moment is your most reliable anchor, how can intentionally noticing and appreciating the small, often overlooked details of your everyday life, even when the seas are calm, actively strengthen your connection to that anchor, making it steadier and more reliable for when a storm does inevitably arise?
Think about that. The simple act of mindfully tasting your morning tea, or really feeling the sunshine on your skin, or truly listening to a friend's laughter without distraction. Are you building the anchor when you don't think you need it? Are you practicing presence in the small moments?
Something to keep in mind as you move through your week.
Well, we really appreciate you joining us for this deep dive into finding your calm anchor. We truly hope exploring these techniques offers you some powerful, practical tools for navigating life's turbulent moments.
Until next time.